We've got another training for you from the Peoria Food and Nutrition Department. Today we're going to talk all about chemicals and sanitation. So the learning objectives for today are to go over Southwest training, SDS folders, give an overview of the different chemicals that we use, talk about dishwashing, sanitizer and how to test it, as well as kitchen and cafeteria table cleaning. Let's start off by getting a better understanding for Southwest Training. Southwest Training is a company that we contract with. They come in once a month and they take inventory and stock all of our chemicals. This is actually one of the only things that our managers don't have to worry about ordering them for themselves. While they're there, they perform monthly kitchen inspections. They're basically just mini health inspections. It's really beneficial to us because it's another set of eyes that can come in and check for cleanliness and other food safety type things. That way, when the real health inspector comes, we're more likely to get an A. We also go through them to have all of our online professional development trainings. They're the ones that set up that system for us. They also offer in-person trainings as needed, as well as supply various other resources like processes and forms and things like that. Now let's talk about safety data sheets. So what are safety data sheets? They're documents that are required by OSHA for any business. They provide information on the hazardous materials that your employees have access to. They tell you all different things about them, such as the chemical properties, how to properly store and handle them, how to use them properly, and what protection you need to use, as well as what you would do in the case of exposure and in need of first aid. This right here is what our SDS folder looks like. Every kitchen needs to have this and it needs to be in a place that every employee knows and is able to access it at any given time. And this is what our safety data sheets look like. You can see right here that this is about our all-purpose cleaner, and this just tells all that different information I was talking about. Another added bonus of our SDS book is that we also have cleaning procedures in the back of the book. They come in both English and Spanish, and they tell you exactly what chemicals to use and how to clean certain things in the kitchen. So it's definitely not every day that we're cleaning the oven racks and the sugar bins. So say it's right before break and your manager is asking you to, clean some things on this major cleaning day. You don't remember what to do. You don't even have to ask them. You can just go grab the book, flip through it, find exactly what it is you're going to clean. It will walk you through it and you'll be able to do it. Easy peasy. Now let's get into the specifics of the chemicals that we actually use. These are the chemicals that we currently carry in our kitchens. We have all-purpose cleaner, pot and pan detergent, germicidal cleaner, degreaser, and sanitizer. What's great is that they come in these pre-measured pouches and they're in a color-coded system. So this exact picture, if you recognize it from earlier when I was showing you the inside of the SDS book and I told you that this was for the all-purpose cleaner, they make it really easy because the cleaner itself or the packaging right here is also green. So this makes it easy to reference. You want to know something about this cleaner, flip through the book and you're going to find the green paper to tell you everything you need to know about it. These pouches can be mixed to all different concentrations depending on what we're using them for. So these are all varying stages of concentration. You can make stock solutions, spray bottles, fill sinks, etc. We'll get into more of that specifically later, but just keep in mind that we're never doing anything besides opening this pouch here. It makes it almost foolproof. Almost. After a while, mixing the chemicals will become second nature and you're going to remember exactly how to do it. But if you're brand new or you just happen to forget, it's okay because we have these sanitation and safety system posters that are hung in every kitchen. We have them in both English and Spanish, and it tells you how to mix all of our different chemicals and, all the different possibilities. So how do you make spray balls of sanitizer? How do you use all-purpose cleaner to mop? So on and so forth. So don't worry, if you ever forget, this is always here for you to reference. Now for everybody's favorite kitchen job, and that's washing dishes. I actually really don't mind washing dishes, so if I come to your kitchen, you can give me a stack. I won't mind. So let's start off by talking about filling our 3-compartment sinks. Our sinks have fill lines that serve as a guide to ensure that the chemicals are at their proper concentration. So in this case, we're going to focus on the sanitizer. So Southwest knows exactly how many gallons of water is needed to be mixed with 1 pouch of the sanitizer in order for it to be at its proper concentration. So what they've done is they've come into each of the schools and they've measured out the sinks and they figured out where exactly that water line needs to be for that proper mix. One thing I wanted to point out is that it might be kind of hard to tell because these pictures are taken at slightly different angles, but they're actually 2 very different size sinks. This one on the left here is a lot bigger and what most of our kitchens have, and here on the right is quite a bit smaller and a few of our kitchens have these. One of the things that might kind of show that is you can see how this looks like it's kind of shallow and this looks like it's really, really deep. They're actually the exact same amount of water, the exact same concentration of the chemicals and at the proper mix. It just looks totally different because it's going from a very large sink to a pretty small sink. Now you can see all 3 compartments of our sink. Let's start over here at sink 1, which is the washing sink. You're going to fill it up to the water line with warm water, and using our color-coded system, you can see that this is a purple sticker, so we're going to pull out the chemical that has the purple label, which is the pot and pan detergent. 1 pouch goes in with that warm water. In sink 2, this is just our basic rinse, just water, no added chemicals. Then over here in sink 3, this is our sanitizing sink. You need to fill up to the line as always, but one thing that's important to remember with sanitizer is that the water can't be too hot. It needs to either be cold to lukewarm in order to not kill off the sanitizing properties. Alright, so now we're going to enter a world that is part real and part cartoon, kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Some of you probably don't know what that is, but we're going to follow this cute little pot all the way through the washing process. So actually, before you wash it, the first thing you want to do is you want to scrape out or spray out as much of this food gunk as you can. I don't know about you, but I really hate floaty water. I think it's disgusting, so I like to get my dishes as scraped and clean as possible before I actually put it into any water. Plus, it's going to make your wash water last a lot longer. So, pretty self-explanatory. You're going to get your sponge, you're going to work it pretty good, get it all soaped up and lathered, and wash it well. Now you're going to dunk it in the rinse water, making sure you're getting off all the bubbles and suds. Now we need to take this cute little pot through the sanitizing process, which is our opportunity to kill off any bacteria that could still potentially be lingering. In order to do that, we need to leave it in the sanitizer for 1 minute. After we've taken the dishes through the sanitation process, it's incredibly important that we only air dry our dishes. Never use a towel to dry them. I know that might sound confusing because that's what we've grown up doing at home, but at home and in an industrial kitchen is very different. In fact, that's a huge critical violation if the health department were to catch us doing that. The reason for that is because towels can introduce bacteria and cross-contamination. So when you're leaving them out to air dry, you just want to make sure that you're either shingling items or putting them upside down like maybe this pot in order to allow for water to drain out of it. Now we're going to specifically talk about sanitizer. Earlier I talked to you about how these pouches can be made into all different concentrations. So this sanitizer pouch can fill a sink like we showed you earlier, and then another thing it can do is it can make stock solutions. So in the case of this stock solution pump, you're going to fill it to about here. There's a line, it's on the back of this, but I think it's to about here. You fill it with water and then you pour in 1 pouch. It kind of paints a picture of how concentrated this stock solution is when you think of how little water is here and how we also use this same pouch in an entire sink of water. So we're making this super concentrated solution right here that then is used to make spray bottles and buckets. To fill our sanitizer buckets, it has 2 different lines, so each line is 1 pump of the stock solution. So if you just wanted a little bit, you would fill it up to water with here with 1 pump of solution. If you wanted it all the way to here, it would be 2 pumps of solution, so on and so forth. And just remember, you can always refer to that safety and sanitation system poster I was telling you about earlier that will tell you exactly how to mix up all these different things. It's important that we test our solution so we know that it's killing the bacteria like we need it to. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is we have these little sanitizers test strip. They're just like little tape dispensers. You're going to rip off about a 2-inch piece of tape, and they're kind of just like thick paper. You're going to take that strip and you're going to submerge it into your sanitizer solution for 10 seconds. You're going to have to fight the urge to swish it back and forth. You just want to put it straight in and let it sit for 10 seconds without moving. Then you're going to remove it from the solution after the 10 seconds, and you're going to compare it. It's going to change colors. And then you're going to compare the color to the chart here on the side of the test tape. We're looking for it to be a minimum of the 200. It can be a little higher into this 300 range and so, but we don't want it to dip lower than 200. If it's at this mark or here, it's not killing any bacteria. So now we're going to show you a video of somebody actually doing it. One thing to note is that you would use this exact same method to test the sanitizer in your 3-compartment sink as well, but here we're just going to be showing you in a sanitizing bucket. Go. Go. It's extremely important that we keep our towels inside our sanitizer bucket. That's because wet towels are a breeding ground for bacteria. So if a health inspector were to come in and see a wet towel like this just hanging out on our workstation, we would definitely get a violation. It's no good to just put it next to the bucket. Also, you're getting closer but not quite there with it half hanging out. What we need is for it to be completely inside this bucket. It can be hard to see because of the angle and stuff, but there is sanitizer and water in here, and it's important that we keep it in there because then it keeps the bacteria from growing as rapidly. Now we're going to discuss cleaning our kitchen tables at the end of the day and the other chemicals that we use. So just reiterating what we went over earlier, while we're working and food is still out and present, the only thing we can use is sanitizer. So at the very, very end of the day, when we've put all the food away and that we're not serving anymore, now is when we can pull out our other chemicals because there's no risk of contamination. So the first thing you're going to pull out right here is the all-purpose cleaner, which is green, and then you're going to end with the germicidal cleaner, which is red. So you're going to go to all your different surfaces, your tables, your carts, pretty much anything, and you can always refer to that book I was telling you about earlier, and you're going to spray it down with your all-purpose cleaner, and you're going to wipe it with a towel. Then I like to think of green as go, so start with the green and then stop as red. So you're going to end with the red here, which is the germicidal cleaner, and spray all of your surfaces as well, wipe it down, and you're good to go. Now let's discuss cleaning the cafeteria tables, which is a little bit different than inside the kitchen. One thing I wanted to note with you guys is that this school year definitely looks a little different than normal because of COVID. Normally, we can use sanitizer and we'll use that all day long while the children are in the cafeteria, and then we might use the red germicidal cleaner at the end of the day. Now, because of COVID, we're not really using the sanitizer this year, and we're going to really focus on using the germicidal cleaner. But with that in mind, we have to make sure that students and food are not present, so it needs to be done between classes when nobody's around. Before we actually play this video, I just wanted to go over a few things with you. One thing to point out is that right here, we did use sanitizer when we were making this video because we were doing the air quotes normal way, not the COVID way, but the same method applies whether you're using the sanitizer or the germicidal cleaner. So we have these really cool pump mister sprayer things that spray nice and evenly. And then we have these shortened tabletop mops, so then a person can easily spray, and then they can come behind here with this mop, and it makes it very quick and very efficient to clean tables. It saves us from having to stop and spray and bend over and hand wipe every surface. It's really, really efficient. Let's get this going. Look at that form. Way to go, Maddie. All right, I think that's enough information for one day. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about chemicals, and don't forget that you can always refer to that poster and the SDS book if you have any questions about any of our chemicals or how to mix them or different ways to use them.